Coming up on a special edition of Cannabis Coast to Coast News this week from Las Vegas, Nevada, it's all about MJBiz Con, the world's largest cannabis trade show. Along with the biggest names and the biggest businesses in the business, it's the biggest joints on display. This is the 13th annual MJBiz Con on Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Hi everybody, welcome to the Cannabis Coast to Coast special report, MJBiz Con, on location in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Jimmy Young, the founder of Pro Cannabis Media and the producer of Cannabis Coast to Coast. I suppose the resume goes on a little bit longer than that because I'm a freaking old guy, but we have some great interviews for you from the floor of MJBiz Con over the last week here in Las Vegas. This is the largest cannabis trade show in the world. Okay, vendors from all over the world come here and either set up shop in the expo or take out a suite in a hotel and have parties and meetings, and it's an amazing get together by the entire industry. And we all know what we report on every week about the industry. We're in transition. You have a new government in place. We have no idea who's going to be pro-cannabis and who's not. There we go. There's some people. Honest to God, I thought that was a dog behind me. Anyway, it's all good. We have some great stuff ahead of you. You're going to enjoy it. And I promise, at the end of this show, I did something here in Las Vegas. You know how they say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? Well, it was great because I got to go to a cannabis social club and turn back the clock about 40 odd years in my 20s, let's just say. It was a great experience, legal experience, dabs on the menu. Anyway, we had a great time. Stay tuned, don't go away, because you will see me do a report under the influence, something I don't like to do. But, okay, wait a second, it's closing.
And it's 4:20.
It's 4:20, oh my God!
Hi, everyone. Welcome to a Cannabis Coast to Coast News special report. I'm Alaina Pinto. Every week, usually on Mondays, PCMTV Productions releases a weekly news report featuring our group of 15 correspondents who share what's going on in the industry in their states, from Washington, Oregon, and California on the West Coast to Virginia, New Jersey, and Washington, D.C., plus more. And this week, many were in Las Vegas, Nevada for the 13th annual MJBiz Con at the Convention Center. After being on the disabled list for 2 years, PCMTV founder Jimmy Young returned. So Jimmy, here he is. How was your trip? What were your impressions? Tell me everything.
I think I lost my voice. No, I'm here. I'm here. But it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. You know, people describe this industry as fascinating. And this major cannabis trade show, the biggest in the world, MJBiz Con, 13 years of it now, it lives up to its billing. It's pretty much overwhelming. There's so many people there, so many things to do. It's spread out, and people go to Las Vegas now just to be in the same town as the trade show and not go to the trade show, just go to the parties or go to the networking events or go to separate meetings that they set up. So it's really a adult playground kind of takeover, if you will, of Las Vegas. And I'll tell you what is the biggest impression I had, and I was using this as I was chatting with people. I'm like, there are more hugs per minute in this trade show than any other trade show that I've ever been for. People care about each other. They care about the cause. They care about the plant. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And then when you look at the docket of speakers, from entrepreneurs to professional athletes to researchers and scientists and growers and botanists and business people, I mean, it is unbelievable. There's always something for someone. And of course, the industry right now, as you probably know, is holding their breath, a little concerned about what might happen with this new administration in the White House and in Congress, and nobody seems to know. Let's just say the money is not flowing yet, But I think once these perhaps new regulations and new realities set in, everything will be just fine. Now, every year, MJBiz Con delivers on its goal of running the largest trade show for cannabis in the world. With 30,000 attendees, just over 2,000 vendors, and dozens of breakout panels being surrounded by like-minded advocates, entrepreneurs, and consumers drives the galvanization and the commitment in all of us. When I talked to MJBiz Con's senior VP, Emily Lewis, a few weeks ago, she suggested everyone should have a plan. Now, anyone who knows me personally, planning is probably not my strength, Alaina. Is that accurate?
It's pretty good, but there's always a but. Yeah.
That's right. But we did have a plan for this special wrap-up show to produce. And during the next hour or so, we're going to be joined by various members of the news team who did interviews. And I, of course, got to do a lot of interviews as well. And I'm very, very excited. And I'll also share two very rare public appearances by moi on camera under the influence. Okay. Because I got to go to the Planet 13 Cannabis Social Consumption Lounge. Okay.
Fun.
And it was an amazing, Alaina, it was an amazing experience. I just don't understand how Massachusetts, where we both are, okay, can't figure out how to do what they're doing in Vegas, because it's absolutely, it's a no-brainer to me. It really is. They have a menu, right? I mean, they have a whole bunch of stuff, and they'll let you dab, do bong hits. There's no alcohol inside. There's no food inside, which is something that I'd kind of like to see changed or adapted. But you know what? That's okay. I got to do it. And for someone who grew up in the 60s and 70s, as you can imagine, it was really amazing to be able to be served cannabis at your table, right? I mean, how cool is that, right? And you know what they say about Vegas? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So let's just say I did a lot of dabbing, for the more dabbing than I've ever done in my life that one night. And I still lived to tell the story, Alaina.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's what they say. I know. I wish I could make it out there sometime, but I am looking forward to the story at the end of the show. I know it's going to be a good one, but I have to know, Jimmy, just how high were you?
Is that a standard question for you? Because at the David Ortiz press conference in Boston announcing that he was getting into the cannabis industry, you asked Big Poppy, are you high right now? I just thought that was still one of my favorite Alaina Pinto stories.
You have to know, right? We were all wondering it. So.
All right. So yes, 13 dabs. I stopped counting after that.
Wow.
But still sat down and did an interview with a guy who's selling the Yellow Labs product that I now represent. He happens to be a sales guy from Ohio. I saw that he had Benaleaves on his jacket, and I said, isn't that in Ohio? And I said, yeah. And he goes, do you know the Yellow Labs product? He goes, of course I do. What do you mean? Of course you do. No, I sell it. I know all about it. I said, do you know Andrew Wensberg? And they, yeah. And I went, how in the world did we meet at a cannabis social club in the middle of Las Vegas? I mean, that is why I am so pumped about 2025. Because everything seems to be coming together, and I'm certainly excited about that. And Alaina, I just want to see what we're doing get noticed by more people.
Yeah,
because we continue to document the fight to end cannabis prohibition every week with the production of Cannabis Coast to Coast News with Alaina Pinto. And I tell you, when I share and I talk about you a lot at these conferences, I'll admit it, okay? And it's because I admire you, I respect you, and I love what you've done for us.
Oh my gosh, no, Jimmy, I just show up every day and read what you write. I learn and that's what everybody's doing. Everybody comes and they learn from the show, and I learn too when I read it. You are the brains behind everything. So I'm so glad you got to go to this conference and meet everybody.
It was 2 years that I was on the DL, and now I'm not.
It's really cool how much of a team player you are. So let's start off with your conversation with Matt Melander, the president of Sun Theory, a private equity strategy and investment company out of Denver that is dedicated to the best cannabis. That includes operations, products, distribution, and innovation. Their brands include Dialed In, those are gummies, Roots Dispensary with 6 locations in Colorado ski towns, and evergreen cultivation and processing operations. So here's Jimmy and Matt.
Well, welcome back to the Cannabis Coast to Coast special report, a wrap-up from MJBiz Con. I'm PCMTV Founder Jimmy Young, and I'm so happy to be joined here in the press room, the media room at MJBiz Con in Las Vegas that is being run by one of Boston's finest PR people. Her name's Tess Woods, and she's been in every one of these MJBiz Con events. But that's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Matt Melander from Sun Theory, and he is, believe it or not, from Massachusetts. What's up with that? I had to go all the way to Las Vegas to hang out with a guy who likes sports.
Hell yeah, man. That's what we got to do.
That's what we got to do. Tell me about Sun Theory, please. What do you do? What is your interest? And how does your company differentiate itself from others?
Yeah, so Sun Theory is a private equity strategy based in Denver, Colorado. We're actually moving our headquarters to Austin, Texas. We've been in the industry since 2016, acquiring EBITDA positive assets. And really, at the end of the day, we believe that the value of this industry is going to accrete to the brand. So we're building a pretty robust brand portfolio as we speak.
Would a television produced show that was perhaps, I don't know, reviewing brands, and turning it into like a QVC program for brands, would that be something that might be an interesting thing?
I mean, potentially. You know, some of the DTC channels that are available through the hemp industry are certainly something we explore, but currently we're purely focused in the adult use space.
Let's talk about adult use, shall we? Because you use the right term. I am not one who likes the term recreational. I don't believe, by the way, you could get high from Robitussin, use it recreationally, and you have to show your ID just to get it out of CVS and Walgreens. It's an adult use product, right? It's not recreational.
Correct.
And that is one of the things we preach a lot here. But Matt, you know the trends in the industry. You mentioned hemp. I'm certainly more supportive of the licensed, regulated side of things in the industry. I have a theory that when the government passed that farm bill in 2018 and legalized the cannabis sativa plant, they knew exactly what they were doing, because they are doing everything they can to make it as difficult as possible to survive in this industry. It is overregulated, it's overtaxed, it's unfair. And what did they do with hemp? They gave people an opportunity to cut the corner and create products that get you high. Does that make any sense? Can you help me understand that?
I mean, I fundamentally actually disagree.
Good, I love it. Please.
I believe when the Farm Bill was released that what some call a loophole was actually a calculated effort to create free and open commerce. At the end of the day, we are a capitalistic society, and there are some states, my home in Massachusetts, highly regulated, very liberal, wants to control and tax things the way they want to do. There are other places in the country, specifically the Southeast, that have been very pro-hemp, but those are traditionally conservative places that don't want to take this issue on. So we created a chance for those consumers to also have access to this plant. So like it or hate it, to me, it's all about creating safe standards and product manufacturing standards. And that's what we at Sun Theory really want to do, is create a uniform understanding of what product safety and soundness really should look like. And at that point, you know, the 3-tier system in alcohol has been around for 100 years. It's been really successful at keeping an age-gated product. And moreover, it creates tax receipts. And at the end of the day, the government wants tax receipts.
And I'm all in favor of creating a fair, regulated industry for both sides of the plant. One industry for both sides of the plant. Well, I appreciate it is one plant. You're right. That's why he's in private equity, by the way, and I'm on, media hound, whatever I am. This is great conversation. I want to go back to that plant, because the soul of this industry cares about the plant. It's a living thing. Absolutely. It drives a lot of the entrepreneurial spirit. It drives a lot of the engagement. The pressure to scale in a emerging industry like this. There's a lot of pressure on a lot of the investments that happen to have that quick return on investment. You're smiling because you know that's what you have to deal with.
Well, I'd say there's 2 ways to run investments. There's building them to run them for the long term, and there's building them to sell. And what we saw in this industry was an over leverage and an overabundance on the commodity side, where the most capital intensive part of this industry is cultivation. At the end of the day, the plant's an ingredient in most of these finished goods. That's what got many of our predecessors over their skis with riddled with debt and an inability to kind of climb their way out. That's a challenge to us at Sun Theory. As I said, we buy EBITDA positive businesses. We build these things to scale and run for the long term. Our investors their returns are not predicated on an exit. So our philosophy is if you buy great companies at really fair value and you know how to operate them, you're going to have the long-term success that you desire.
But how would you like to see the industry be regulated at the federal level? Where do you think, I'm not a big fan of straight Schedule 3 rescheduling because that opens the door for a lot of pharmaceutical money to come in, control, and try and treat this plant like every other drug that they produce. It's not like that. You can't do that with this plant. And I don't know if we're not ready. I'm not sure we're going to ever see that.
So my take on it is the deschedule, reschedule conversation. For me, it's more about research, and we need to open up the research gates. You've got a very unique circumstance where for the first time in 100 years, you've got an intoxicant that can be sold in open commerce, but moreover, you've got some 200 plus cannabinoids, many of which have real bona fide health benefits. We need to understand exactly what is capable of this plant. To me, the pharmaceutical industry, I'm not sure they're super interested. The size of the totality of the cannabis industry, to Bo Whitney's report last year, some $58 billion. You can look at many of these indications that these pharma companies take on. They'll have 2 drugs that do more than that on an annualized basis. So there's a lot of white space for operators like ourselves to focus and continue to run.
I don't go that way. I say it's a big pie. Can we find a fair slice for everybody? Because it's a huge industry, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we're just scratching the surface, right? I mean, we're here to talk about the intoxicating cannabinoid space, but we've got industrial practices that are fabulous. We've got feed sources that are fabulous. I mean, when you take this and you break it down to the true component parts, it's a plant whose time has come, and I really believe it'll be a $100 billion industry once we actually get to the maturation cycle.
Love that. And I think that's a great way to end this a little bit, because I think I could probably talk with you for at least another 20, if not an hour, okay? But I so appreciate it. How do people get in touch with you if you want them to? And where can they find you online, on LinkedIn, all that stuff? Yeah,
Matt Melander is my name. So LinkedIn is easy. My email is matt.melander@suntheory.co. I'm happy to chat with anybody. We're constantly on offense trying to acquire innovative, new, and exciting companies.
I may have one for you. No, I'm only kidding. All right, that's Matt Melander from Sun Theory. I'm Jimmy Young from YPA. I said it. This is my old company. PCMTV. We have an app. Make sure you download it, like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to have more of this special after this.
We are Pro Cannabis Media.
I think I messed up. Did you know there's a place that covers all the cannabis news you need? Welcome to Pro Cannabis Media, your go-to for all things cannabis. PCM is the CNBC of weed, bringing you the latest news and talk shows with a twist. We've got 16 state correspondents and multimedia journalists from around the US and Canada.
Hey everybody, it's Brandon Jones with Be Green Distribution with the Missouri Cannabis Report.
I'm Karen Black from Green Finger Consulting with the Arizona Cannabis Report.
I'm Amy Carter from Michigan Weedsters.
Andrew Behringer here reporting from Washington, D.C.
Debbie Fazy with the Canadian Toke of the Week.
It all started back in 2018 when founder Jimmy Young kicked off the In the Weeds podcast. His mission? Documenting the fight to end cannabis prohibition. Fast forward to today and we've got Cannabis Coast to Coast with Alaina Pinto, delivering the nation's only TV-style cannabis news show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Cannabis Coast to Coast, PCMTV's weekly roundup of industry news from California to New York. I'm Alaina Pinto.
As of August 2024, PCM has racked up over 1.2 million views and 14.5 million impressions on our YouTube channel. With 15,000 subscribers and growing, our reach is spreading like wildfire. PCM's website, YouTube, Rumble, Discord, Roku, Twitch, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and even our very own PCM TV app. Get your cannabis news fix with Pro Cannabis Media. We're here to keep you informed and entertained. Stay tuned and stay lifted.